Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to create an iOS plugin to change the brightness of iOS device in Godot Game Engine. So let's get started. So as usual you would require macOS with Xcode installed from the Apple App Store, and I have just created one sample folder called Godot. You can name it whatever you folder name you want. It's just that by the end of this tutorial there will be 3 different projects. That's why I've created this parent folder, just for better organization. If you don't want to create, that's fine as well. Inside VS Code I have just created one cheat sheet, uh, which will help me to remember all the steps. So first you will have to go to this particular URL. So it has all the documentation necessary. So from this particular documentation itself I have created the cheat sheet. So first it tells us to create a package. So just to open Xcode, file, new, package, select multi-platform, select library, click next, select Godot, and here we can just click on create my library. So I've given it a name as my library. You can give it whatever name you feel like, but do remember this name because this name will be used in lot other places as well. So the next thing which we have to do is we have to add this particular dependency block. Again, this has been specified in the documentation. So if you just scroll down here, you can see it has been specified. So I can just add it over here and just do command S. So it will automatically download the Swift Godot dependency for us using Swift package manager, so we don't have to worry about it. So here you can see it has downloaded it for us. Once that is done, again scroll down. Here we have to add this platform, but here in our case it will be iOS. So after name I can do something like this. I'm keeping the minimum deployment target as iOS 17 because for lower versions of iOS I was facing issues with Swift Godot, that's why. Then as you can see, we need to add this type dynamic after library name. So I'll just copy this. Again, you can copy it from the documentation. I'll just paste it over here. Once that is done, we have to add this dependency section as well. So again, I'll just copy this, and if you scroll down here, you can see they have added this dependency section after target name. So after target name, just add a comma and paste this bit of code. Then just do command A, control I, just to improve the indentation if you want to. Once this is done, at the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot does not support Swift version 6, so I have to downgrade it to Swift 5.10 over here. But you can check the GitHub repository of Swift Godot if it supports Swift version 6 or not. Then we have to go to my library.swift file. Again, I will cheat a little bit. I already have the required code written, so I will just go in that particular code. Just copy this, okay, and I'll paste it over here. So firstly we are importing UIKit and we are also importing Swift Godot. Then here we have defined, so this is boilerplate code which you have to write every time you use Swift Godot. Again, this should be your own library name. Then here we have class called my library, which extends from ref counted. We have annotated with @Godot, so that this can be called from GDScript side as well. Then we have defined two methods, increase brightness as well as decrease brightness. Both are marked as @callable. So here we get hold of our root view controller. Then we get the current brightness, and whatever is the current brightness, we just like here we want to increase, right? So we don't want to increase it above 1.0 because that will never work. So whatever is the minimum, we increase it by that. So either, so suppose the current brightness is 0.5, so 0.5 plus 0.1, 0.6. So what is the minimum? 0.6. So the value will be assigned as 0.6, then 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and then 1.0. Then if 1.0 plus 0.1 is 1.1, what is the minimum? 1.0. So again the brightness will stay as 1.0. Similarly we are doing for decrease, but here we are using max and we are subtracting as well. So yeah, pretty simple till here. Okay, then we need to create a build.sh file, and for that I will be using VS Code because I'm not comfortable doing it via Xcode. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this cheat sheet. I'll just go to the Godot folder. and I'll open the entire Godot folder inside VS Code. If you're comfortable doing it via Xcode or any other IDE, you can do that as well. One more thing is, if you're seeing all this error, that is fine as well. Like, Xcode does not play nicely with Swift Godot, so ignore all these errors which are being thrown. So here is my library. We will just create this particular file, build.sh. Okay, then we'll have to go to this particular URL over here and open it in a new tab, and I'll just copy everything from this and I'll paste it inside the build.sh. Okay, then we have to scroll up, and here inside the scheme we have to just name it as my library. You can name it whatever you feel like. And again, sorry, you can't name it whatever you feel like, sorry about that. It should be your own library name. And there is one more thing which you have to add, this dash skip macro validation slash. Okay, so after this you have to add it over here, so and save it. So only two changes which you have to make: this scheme name, which should be your own library name, as well as this particular part. Once that is done, I'll just close this. Then you can just open your terminal, cd to my library. Okay, and then I'll just run this command first. Okay, then I'll run this command. Now at the I'm not planning to deploy this app to Apple App Store, so I can just generate the debug framework. But if you are planning to deploy it to Apple App Store, you will have to replace the word debug with release. You will have to generate release framework, but for me debug is fine, so I'll just paste this command. So yeah, let's just let it do its thing. In the meantime, what we can do is we can open Godot Game Engine. At the time of recording this video, I'm using Godot 4.3.0, so I'll just click on create. I'll browse to the Godot folder which I have created. I'll select the current folder and I'll just name it as my Godot project, and I'll click on create and edit. Then I'll click on top project, export, add iOS, click on fix import. Here you will have to first your App Store team ID. So so you can go to this particular URL to get your App Store team ID. I'll enter mine later on, but make sure you enter it now only. And one more thing which you have to do is enter your bundle identifier. So it is com.nobody.myapp. It can, in your case, it would be typically like your company name your app name. I'll close this. Okay, this is still building. I'll create a 2D scene. I will add two buttons, one for increasing the brightness and one for decreasing it. So I'll just expand this. Okay, I'll just duplicate this. I'll bring this down. Just name this as increase. Second one as decrease. I'll save this. I'll run this so that the current scene is selected. Okay, then I will attach one script to this. Then I will add the press signal for both of these buttons. Then here is our second button. I'll add one press signal for that as well. Okay, once that is done, again I'll cheat a little bit. I'll just copy some code which I have already written. So I'll go over here. I'll just open this particular part. So firstly I'll need to copy this particular variable which will help us to instantiate this particular library. Then here we will just initialize this my library equal to null. Okay, over here, so my library equal to null, and in class db.class exist my library, here we initialize this as well. Then on first button press we just call increase brightness, so something like this, and for second button press we just call decrease brightness. Again I'll just copy this and paste it over here. Okay, once this is done, now you just have to create one bin folder inside your Godot Game Engine, Godot Game project. Inside bin we have to create file. Now I don't know how to create a new file, like a normal file. Maybe it is text file, I don't know. I'm just going to create it via VS Code, that's why I'm comfortable in. So go to bin, and here you have to create a file with name as whatever is your library name dot gd extension. Okay, then if you see over here, I'm not able to open this file from Godot Game Engine, I don't know why. So just from VS Code itself I'll just copy this code inside this my library.gd extension. So just paste it over here. Again, this should be release if you are using release framework, as well as over here. Okay, once that is done, so here inside the terminal as well, it has created the frameworks for us. So what I can do is just go to the Godot folder, go to library, go to bin, go to iOS, copy these two .framework folders, go back to our Godot game project, go to bin, and just paste it over here. Now I will just create one more folder, iOS. Now we need to export our Godot Game Engine. Okay, come back to Godot Game Engine, just save it once more. Just go to project, export, select iOS, click on export project, and here I will select the iOS folder and I'll click on save. So again the export will take a little bit of time, so be patient. Alright, so here as you can see my project has been exported. Then just go to the iOS folder, double click on this .xcode proj file, it will open it for you in Xcode. Let me just mirror my device. Okay, now I will just run this project on my real device. You can't run it on a simulator because because of the graphics things, it will not work on the simulator for you. Okay, so let's just wait for this project to get uploaded to my device. I think for the very first time, whenever I try to install this application, it always takes time. I don't know why, but yeah, let's just wait. Okay, so here is the output. At the start you can see the brightness, so it is somewhere like mid-level brightness. I'll just click on increase, and I like I know you guys can't really see it, but if I bring this down here, you can see the brightness level is at the full level. And if I click on decrease, again on when, because I'm mirroring my device, that's why the brightness doesn't decrease. But on my real device I can see that the brightness has gone really down. So here you can see, and I'm not able to even see anything. I'll just increase it. Yeah, so I've increased it a little bit. So yeah, and here you can see brightness has increased. So yeah, that's it. Again, because I'm mirroring my device, that's why I was not able to show you the output correctly. But hopefully you got the point, and maybe you can try it on your own device. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.